They have 3 hours of first run programming every week, not discounting the YouTube show. Why do they need 90 men and 23 women on their roster?
I can only speculate, and this is just my opinion. I it, it I don't know Tony Khan. I know a lot of the guys who were there, or some of the guys who were there: Billy Gunn, Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, whoever the agents are. But as far as talent goes, it looks or it appears to me at first glance that Tony Khan is taking guys to show that he's going to have a roster of younger guys. It seems like that could develop into something else, and more power to him. Once again, it's another place to work. It's got national TV coverage, and that's a blessing and a curse if you have guys on there who aren't ready to go. The problem is, you do talent is the lifeblood of the business. Talent, young talent, interesting talent, uh, is what your program should be about. And Tony Khan, I believe, is trying to get the best young, fresh, immature talent he can to come on board and mature in his company, learn his company's ways, and hopefully make AEW more appealing company to come to with the schedule, with the work ethic. So why do they need 90? Maybe just so WWE can't get them. I don't know. That could be the game they're playing. I see the snips and the bar back and forth on the internet. It's amusing, but honest to goodness, the era, the culture of today has changed from when I broke in. And wrestling was the hottest in recent memory when Austin, Rock, Hunter, Shawn, Mankind, and all those guys were in the game and making it what it was with Undertaker, Kane. Let me go on and on and on. But the attitudes changed, the culture, the world. We have cancel culture. We can't do a lot of things that we did back in the Austin days, drinking beer, oh hell yeah, and cussing and swerving and all that stuff. So Tony Khan, obviously, he's got to have a plan or got to have an idea in his head, with a young guy who can go out and perform and do things he likes. He'll want to hire him for his company. So I don't know specifically why they would need 90 guys or 100 guys on their roster necessarily, but from what I see, Tony wants to make it where it's a fun place to be. And that's the only thing I can surmise out of it.
There's an old, I don't know if it's an old saying, or it's sort of like an old theory of the wider the spotlight, the sort of less dense the light, the less people in the spotlight that you take notice of at the same time. I suppose I'm probably saying that the wrong way, but you know what I'm getting at. But I also juxtapose when you were in the territory days. I mean, some territories seem to be touring with like 12 guys on the roster at the same time.
Yeah, but once again, it was a different world, different business, because that's all you really needed. You were going to the same places every single week, and if you got hurt, you didn't get paid, and if you got hurt, you had to bring somebody in or somebody to take your place. You had 6 matches, sometimes 7 or 8 matches on the card, and yeah, you had your main event guys, you had your in between guys, and your underneath guys, and these days. You have live cable TV. Back then, it was just a regional TV. Some were live, some were taped. But these days, the attention for or something to grab your attention is out there everywhere you turn. Video games. Nobody watches TV anymore. Old people watch TV. Everybody else watches their devices, their phones, their pads, their whatever it may be. So in that sense, the territory days was a lot simpler. It was the Outlaws. It was the Wild Wild West. And back then we called independent Outlaws. They were outlaw promotions. But the thing is, you have to have something on mainstream cable, whatever it may be, or mainstream streaming services with main event guys or interesting people, the guys who are your money makers and the guys who are going to draw people and eyeballs to your product. And I think having an overabundance of talent, the problem is you're trying to grab this guy and make him this. You're trying to grab that guy and make him that. And if they're not this or that, it's not going to work. It's not going to be authentic. It's not going to be real, and people aren't going to care. One of the analogies, real quick, not to go down a rabbit hole, but I talked about with someone the other day about a band. Who are the most popular bands these days? And he said to me, there's no bands out there. There's not as many bands as there used to be. Like in the days of Van Halen, Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, whatever you want to mention, man. I mean, Led Zeppelin. I'm talking classic rock and roll. Yes, but there hasn't been anybody that beat him out of the water yet. So Green Day was another one. It's the same thing. The country, the culture's moved on to something else. Now it's individuals. Now it's okay to be this and it's okay to be that. As long as you have your tribe who likes this and your tribe who likes that. And can they come together? I don't know. But back then you had people come together because you had a wrestler like a Johnny Valentine. Let me just say, for all the old school guys, Johnny Valentine could be the roughest, toughest, hated, most disgusting heel one week. But man, if he went against a heel who was even more vile and disgusting than he was, the fans would cheer him and they would get behind him. It's not because they were pro Valentine. It was that they were anti-Stasiak. And I use that because Johnny Valentine and Crusher Stasiak, Stan the Man Stasiak, had this incredible match in Houston. And I'll never forget, they hated Valentine. The fans hated Valentine, but they hated Stasiak worse. So it just forced this issue. It was a personal issue. And they went about it, in a manner that you could at least buy into. They all might have known it was a work and thought it was a work, but they paid money to come out and see it because they knew it was going to be two gladiators in the ring, constructing this match and going out there and giving fans more action than they could get at a football game or a racetrack or wherever you may be. And these days, it seems that you need more people to appeal to everybody, or multicultural globalization that we find ourselves in today. So if this doesn't appeal to you, wait, we got another one over here. Maybe this will appeal to you. Oh, you don't like that? Well, we got this guy. We got this girl. That's good. But at the same time, you're right. When the spotlight is, you have to pull it out, and it gets wider. It gets duller at the same time too. So, I don't know if that answers your question at all, but I will rant. Not a problem there.
Ultimately, and this is going to be a giant question. If you could pick, and I'm going to go ask the same for WWE as well, but with AEW, ultimately, what do you think they're doing right? What do you think they could improve on? And if you could make 3 changes only to their product, either on television or behind the scenes or who was on top or whatever, what 3 changes would you make to, have a more sustainable viewership?
Man, I got to tell you, I really don't know enough about what needs to be changed, obviously. And I know you're just asking for my opinion, but I didn't give TNA a chance in hell when they started. They were doing shows at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and man, it was not it for a wrestling fan. It looked great. For a wrestling fan, you appreciated the ambiance, but for a casual fan and for someone who was looking for big time entertainment, it wasn't. AEW is doing the right things, I believe, in going to these arenas and the Arthur Ashe tennis facility and having 20,000 fans and doing these numbers. Let me address that first. I think when you're drawing fans, 20,000, 15,000, 10,000, you're doing pretty good these days. It's when you're drawing the hundreds or the teens, that you might want to look and go, wait a minute, do I really want to do this and why? But they're doing that. At least they're getting their product out. you have kids today. When I say kids, anywhere from 15 to 25, watching in JPWA, we have guys coming wearing AEW shirts, Orange Cassidy shirts. That's the viewing audience. That's your market, and that's what you want to play to. So I can't. It's not my cup of tea. It's not something I would definitely, if I saw it, I think growing up as a kid, it wouldn't make me want to be a wrestler. But I came up in a different era. Again, I have to classify and clarify that because the world today is filled with so many distractions, so many opportunities and different ways to spread your attention, if you will. Cody Rhodes, for everything he does wrong, he does a lot of things right in the entertainment business because not everybody's going to like you. In fact, if you don't have haters in the entertainment business, you're doing something wrong. You need rivals and you need people because at least you're getting the attention. Brandy the same way. However annoyingly arrogant and egotistical she may or may not be, same thing for Cody. This is a business. You better be sure of yourself and you better have confidence. And there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. And sometimes you have to cross the line and blur the line. And I think they're doing those things right. I think that even the guys who get heat with people who are hardcore wrestling fans or experts and say, oh man, I can't stand that guy. Oh God, they're going out there and just doing spot. All right. For a purist and for a coach or somebody looking at what you need to do correctly to have the basics and fundamentals, it doesn't matter. Once you get on TV, once you have a spot or once you have a job, you do what your company wants you to do. And if they ask you to do something, it's up to you to interpret it and make it and better and create it, and give you an idea, give you a suggestion. But then you take it and you color in between the lines or color outside the lines or color it all messy as you want, as long as it's entertaining and it gets eyeballs on the product. I think that's really the end goal, is to have people watching your show, getting invested, buying your merchandise, and buying the guys that you're putting on there so they want to watch the pay-per-views. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, no matter who else they bring, they're going to get those guys in the company, and maybe they'll make a change, maybe they won't. But I've also seen, read a couple of the articles that the numbers really haven't moved. I mean, they got a spike when Punk came. I think there was a spike when Bryan came, but it's kind of leveled out. So there's no pop, there's no uprise. I mean, and it takes time to do that. So we're at that holding pattern right now, I believe. And what I don't know the three things I would definitely change, if anything at all, because I really don't know whose mind is behind this madness. But they obviously have people who enjoy watching the Young Bucks. They enjoy watching their attitude and their cockiness and their brashness on All Elite, their video gimmick on YouTube. Okay, so who's to say who's wrong and who's to say who's right? If you got an audience over here watching this, great. What are you going to do to steal that audience? Because you're doing something completely different on this side, but they're watching the Dog and Pony Show over here. Whatever you want to call it, some of those guys are not ready for prime time. But you can't wait until someone's ready. A lot of times you have to say, look, you got to go. You're either ready or you're not. You're never going to be always perfectly in tune. And now I can do it. I got it. No. There's got to be some imperfections. Got to be some dirt under your fingernails. There's got to be some grit and grime to it so it looks authentic. And some of those guys are trying to play like they're the real deal and trying to play like they're these characters they portray. It can't. I'm not saying it can't work, but it can't work like that if you're not feeling it. And a lot of those guys, I can tell when they go out there, they're not feeling it. On the other side, with WWE, it's the same thing. They're looking for the next group of guys, under, in their 20s in their 20s, early 30s, ready to go out and have that enthusiasm, have that fire. You haven't done it yet. And when you go out there, you'll know if you can or you can't. You know if you should or you shouldn't. And that's the instinct part. So AEW, with all their faults, they have a lot of good things going on too. And the thing is, I've talked to more people who enjoy watching Orange Cassidy with his hands in his pockets, keeping up and doing this stuff, to which I didn't get Gigi Allen in the beginning either. but you had an audience for that too. You follow me? I mean, I would rather go to an Aerosmith concert or something like that than Gigi Allen, but it's the same thing. Do you want to have somebody throw shit at you while they're singing on stage, or do you want to have somebody actually perform and show you that they can do things the guy in the third row can't? You know what I mean? Steven Tyler's in his 70s. He's still keeping up on stage. He's rocking. He's rolling. I mean, there's secrets in the rock and roll world too, and I get that. It's all a work. It really, really is. But it's entertainment, from rock and roll to rodeoing to professional wrestling to sports entertainment. It really is a work. You're paying your money to go see someone perform, and you got to go see somebody that you really enjoy to get your money's worth, I think. So Cody Rhodes, I think, tremendous athlete. I like John Moxley. I really, really do. I think John's a hell of a performer. And Dustin, for Dustin to still be out there doing it and at the level he's doing it, he still has passion, and you can feel that. I can feel it when I watch Dustin work. So I wish I had an answer for the three things I would change, but I really, really don't, because I haven't seen a whole lot of AEW. What I've seen, I'm not a big fan of the Dark Order. I can appreciate their passion. I can appreciate guys wanting to do this, and I can appreciate having friends who now have a company and can allow you to do it. But at the same time, friends shouldn't let friends wrestle when they don't know what they're doing. So that's my point.
Do you know, I was more stunned that you brought up Gigi Allen as an analogy. He must be the
everybody knows Gigi, don't they?
Oh my God,
okay.
Gigi Allen. Oh, geez, I've actually seen footage of those. Oh my God, like the FMW of rock and roll or something like that, I'd suggest.
But that's how I compare it. Somebody told me one time, real quick. They asked me about whatever it was, and I said, you know what? I get it, man. Some people want to go see Gigi. Some people want to go see Aerosmith. And he looked at me and said, oh, okay. And I compared it. That's what I mean. Gigi Allen had his followers. He had his cult, and they made a movie about him. I've seen the other films and the other stuff, the bootleg stuff, because I have those kind of friends. And then I watched it and I said, you know, I get it. He's expressive. He's hardcore. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's in your face. And he's throwing shit at you on stage, and he can't sing, but he rocks and gets attention. Then you got Aerosmith again, who goes out and they actually can play their instruments. They actually can hear, you understand, not always understand the words, but they give you a show. They give you a rap. They give you entertainment. They go out and it's a positive vibe. It's a great high energy vibe. And Gigi is the dark club with a guy doing what he does. And that's what I compared the two to.
Well, I know which one I'd rather have the gate receipt proceeds from. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you,